Well, 4 kilos of marijuana, a boogie board and Bali. The combination added up to 20 years in jail for convicted drug smuggler Schapelle Corby. Now that sentence has been cut by 5 years after Indonesia's president granted a plea for clemency. That means she could be released by 2015 or even earlier. Schapelle Corby's family has welcomed the news, but questions are being raised about what deals were done behind closed doors. The decision follows the release of 3 young Indonesians held in Australia for people smuggling. Foreign Minister Bob Carr says there's no link, but as Tracy Bowden reports, human rights activists aren't convinced.
May the 23rd, 2005. It was an emotion-charged scene, the most compelling chapter in the saga of Schapelle Corby, played out live across the region. The Queenslander was sentenced to 20 years jail for drug smuggling. Now, almost 7 years to the day, news that the sentence has been slashed.
Our family is grateful to the Indonesian president, and we now hope to get more information about a possible clemency, and our family hopes that we'll have more positive news in the near future.
We just hope that she will be home in July, August this year. We just hope, but as I say, you know as much as I.
Indonesian government ministers say the decision was part of a reciprocal arrangement with Australia, involving lenient treatment for young Indonesians held here on people smuggling charges.
The President signed the clemency decision, and we hope Australia will reciprocate with Indonesian prisoners.
On this question of a deal, let me say up front, if there were no Schapelle Corby in a Balinese prison, we'd still be releasing minors.
Foreign Minister Bob Carr denies there was any deal. He says there's been a long history of representation seeking clemency for Schapelle Corby, and that releasing young Indonesians is the right thing to do.
Indonesians have asked us to consider their cases. We've done that. The Human Rights Commission has recommended it. We've done it. And if that's created a level of goodwill in Indonesia that has helped make this decision possible, then that's fine.
I accept Bob Carr's statements that there is no formal deal. My point is just this. We have a very close government-to-government relationship between Canberra and Jakarta, and the question of what happens to Indonesians in Australian jails is a hot domestic issue in Indonesia. It's hardly surprising that they decide to be more flexible in dealing with our prisoners after they seem to have got some good results.
Tim Lindsay from the Asian Law Centre at the University of Melbourne says the decision is clearly a political one.
The clemency decision here is not a judicial decision. This is a decision that's entirely at the discretion of the President. He consults the Supreme Court, he's spoken to his own Ministry of Justice, but it's his decision, and it's therefore not inappropriate that he takes into account political considerations, and we can be absolutely sure that our government's been pushing pretty hard on that.
But Jerry Georgiadis from the Human Rights Alliance claims there is a direct link between the matters.
The conversations have actually taken place between personnel from within the Office of the Foreign Minister in Indonesia and of our ministry here, where in the same breath the children, the Indonesian children who are languishing in our Australian adult prisons have been mentioned alongside Schapelle Corby and the desire to have her released.
Earlier this month, Attorney General Nicola Roxon announced a review into the conviction of 24 Indonesian people smugglers. Last week, 3 were sent home because there were doubts about their ages. The release of the young Indonesians follows controversy over the method used to determine their age, bone density X-rays, which have been found in court to be totally unreliable.
Oh, it is far too long in coming. It should have happened much sooner, absolutely. And the 22 that are on Nicola's desk, they should all be released today, not next week, not the week after.
Today, Schapelle Corby's mother, Ros, said her daughter has struggled emotionally during her time behind bars, but is now improving.
Well, she's getting her spirit back. I think it was just a natural... when she got really sick, she went back into a child. I think that was the only way to cope. And now she seems to be getting her spirit back.
Up until now, the Indonesian government has resisted Schapelle Corby's pleas for clemency. She's always denied she was guilty, claiming the 4 kilograms of marijuana found in her boogie board bag were not hers.
I had no idea. I just saw a plastic and I thought, this isn't supposed to be here. I didn't put it there.
Tim Lindsay says the reduction in Schapelle Corby's sentence could be just the first step in a complex process.
As of maybe August, she will have come very close to serving 2/3 of her sentence. Now, if that's the case, and we have to wait and see if it is, she would then be eligible under Indonesian criminal procedure law to apply for a form of parole. In order to do that, she'd have to fulfil a range of conditions. For example, generally you're expected to show remorse, and that would be tricky, I would have thought, in this case, given that she doesn't acknowledge any guilt.
The prospect of Ms Corby's legal team making representations for parole is another matter. If they choose to do that, then we're likely to support it.
Schapelle Corby's family is grateful for any good news, but remains cautious.
We'll see what happens. No one knows yet until the President works out her parole, or the parole board if they've got one over there. But I don't want to get overexcited because we've been kicked in the guts so many times.
Tracy Bowden reporting.